Yeah, okay. Thank goodness. I have a confession to make, and it is that I'm in an altered state and not what you're thinking. Sudafed. Which is why I'm talking about healing this week. It was one of those things that happened to me. This past week, Deb and Roland and I, after church on Sunday, we drove down to Unity Village for the Unity South Central Region Conference. And Deb did a sound healing there, and I'm on the board, so I didn't have to do anything but, attend, and Roland is there to help me, do whatever I need to do. It was a great experience meeting with other ministers and other board members of churches, and it was really nice to have, for me, I felt like I was showing off Deb a little bit. That was cool, that she could be presenting down there. And the speaker was Reverend David Alt, who I just decided we have to get him here because he will come. He's just an amazing man, and I think Roland went on a trip to Cambodia with him, and he just has a lovely message of showing up and opening your heart and serving, and that you're okay. You're okay. Whatever you do, you're okay. And of course, I love that message, and I hammer that message all the time because I need to hear it. Now, healing is a very unity subject. Really, it's also a very Christian subject. Jesus healed people. I'm going to say a little bit of scripture here. Matthew 4. Jesus went throughout Galilee, teaching in their synagogues and proclaiming the good news of the kingdom and curing every disease and every sickness among the people. So his fame spread throughout all Syria, and they brought to him all the sick, those who were afflicted with various diseases and pains, demons, epileptics, and paralytics. I'm not saying that right. And he cured them. And great crowds followed him from Galilee. All right. Now, nowhere in the Gospels does it say how Jesus healed. He doesn't have a technique. It doesn't say he did sound healing. It doesn't say he did Reiki or massage or any of the things that we love to do. It doesn't say how. But in unity, we have taken his teachings about the kingdom, which is the good news that you are the Christ, that God is within us. That's our good news. We've taken those teachings, and we really have formulated a little bit of a unity healing. And it is affirming goodness, or it is affirming the truth. And the truth is that you are the perfection of God. You are the perfection of God in this moment, and I am even with this cold. We are at any moment. But let me talk about the healing procedure. A lot of times, I like to talk about things that are done. Like, it's a little uncomfortable for me to talk about healing when I feel sick, quite frankly. It's a little uncomfortable. But as the Daily Word so wonderfully said, authenticity is a value, and this topic just would not leave me. I said, can I talk about something else? No, you got to talk about healing. So the reason I want to talk about healing while I'm in the middle of it, and not, maybe sometimes I can state very clearly, I have had this experience, and it was wonderful, and you can trust me on this. And right now, I am in the swamp. But I do know for sure that love heals. I know that is this core. You can take that to the bank. But but I'm in the swamp, and I don't always like sharing that. It makes me feel uncomfortable. I like to appear in control. I like to feel in control. I'm pretty sure none of you like that. So here's some things about healing. Immunity. You want to understand the relationship between our body, our mind, and our spirit. And just get this part. First of all, your body can't experience itself. You need your mind to experience your body, and you need your spirit to experience your mind. You need the consciousness, the great consciousness, the energy field of consciousness itself to actually experience our consciousness. For example, if you've ever had surgery or been anesthetized for any reason, your consciousness is gone, right? You're unconscious and you're not aware of anything. So you need the consciousness to be present and to be aware of what's going on. So mind is experienced because of that energy field. And consciousness itself is experienced because of the greater field, which we call God, or God-mind, or spirit. We can learn to energize the self-healer that is present in all of us in our nature, actually in our natural state. And we want to go to the level of cause instead of the level of effect. Now, quite frankly, I am definitely by taking those Sudafed pills, I am going right to the level of effect. And I'm not so sure that the spaciness is any better than the stuffiness. But, all week I've been going, do I want to be stuffy or do I want to be spacey? And I would alternate. And I decided, I don't know why, to be a little spacey today and, not so stuffy. This afternoon I might try a little stuffy, who knows? But that really is the level of effect. Here's a unity teaching. Illness is an expression of pain and suffering. It doesn't mean you're bad. It doesn't mean and please this is not about guilt or you're doing anything wrong. I'm just saying illness or disease or anything that's not quite right, anything that's out of balance, is simply an expression of something that needs to be looked at. So, and when you're sick, you feel pain and suffering. Even a little bit. Like, really, a cold is not very bad. Here's an affirmation for healing. I no longer believe in this illness. I am an infinite being and I am not subject to this illness. I am only subject to what I hold in mind. The willingness to accept this truth lifts us up to a position to choose appreciation of the body instead of making wrong of the body, the lovingness of life instead of the wrong of life, and the lovingness of our being instead of the criticism of it. Okay, this is really important. It's really important. The accepting the truth and just going to the love, right? Accepting the truth and going to the love, and not hanging out in the complaining and the I am wrong. I harp on this because I know that the thoughts in our brains are so subtle and so many thoughts of I am wrong. You did this wrong. And you can add an extra layer. You're sick, you did that wrong. Whatever it is. I harp on this because it's so subtle. I personally don't even know what exactly my belief system is about colds, but certainly I have a belief system about colds because I'm having a cold. And the spiritual step is to recognize the truth about colds, because germs are everywhere, right? We do know that. And sometimes the germs get ya or whatever, or sometimes you react and sometimes they don't, right? Isn't that true? Sometimes everybody in your family gets a cold except you. Sometimes you're the only one. And sometimes, you can see it coming down like dominoes. I saw my friend Julie had a cold in Bali, and then the last day, Rob and her husband had it, and then I got it, and then Roland got it. And to me, it just tells me that I'm buying into that just a little bit about the belief system. Now, we have to let go of putting ourselves in the position of being right. What? And making other people wrong. What? It's not just about me. I can't make anybody else wrong. That is the most popular negative thought form that we have. Because, seriously, haven't you noticed how wrong people are? All the people are, as one of my teachers used to say, highly paid to get us to activate our judgments. Okay. Now, this thought that we're right, or even that we're wrong, even that anybody's right and wrong, has a deleterious effect on our health and our life energy. If we are willing to let go of our illness, then we have to be willing to let go of the attitude that brought about the illness, because disease is an expression of one's attitude and habitual way of looking at things. So here's the 5 steps. And it might go a little, it might be a little against what you think. So the first step, let's just say we're going to work with a cold instead of something very bad. 1, the first step, stop resisting the sensory experience of it. So if there's something that, if you don't have a physical illness, is there something that you would like to heal right now? Maybe it's a mental thing, just anything at all. Play along with me. If you don't have any physical symptoms, think of something you want to heal. Maybe it's something you don't want to feel. And the first thing is you stop resisting the experience of it. So that means that whether I'm choosing to be spacey or stuffy, I sit with it. And I did this over, the past couple of days. I did that. And here's the other step that's kind of tricky. You stop labeling it, which clearly I have not got there yet. But stop labeling it. And you welcome the experience in a radical way. Accept the experience without words. Because I can feel myself resisting this. When I sit and meditate, I can let it in a little bit. But I have been fighting this experience since Sunday night. Most of the time, I have been like, I don't want this. I hate this. I believe I've said I hate this a couple times. And, doing whatever it is that could shove this away from me. Don't you see how I'm just a person on the path, not quite getting this everything yet. So you welcome the experience in a radical way, accept the experience without words, and number 4, cancel the thought and belief system. Well, I don't even know where that thought and belief system is in my brain. I know it's there. I don't even know where it is. So I'll just say cancel, and then here's the step that has the zing for me that we can always do if the rest of it seems hard. Number 5, choose the energy field of love with which always heals. Okay? If you can do nothing else, you can choose the energy field of love which always heals. It lifts us up. It gets us into the God energy. It gets us into who we really are. So really, every time I have a physical challenge, truly, I can actually see that it's a gift. Because it stops me. I have to stop. It took a week. When I went down to the conference, I noticed I didn't stop, but when I got back here, I did. I stopped. It stops me, and I have to pay attention. And see what's the message. There's always a message. For me, it might have been just stop, might have been rest. I think for me it was really about getting clear about healing. I want to just say that 5 steps one more time. Okay, if you have a physical challenge, stop resisting the sensory experience of it. Don't label it. Welcome the experience in a radical way, without words. Cancel the thought and belief system. Choose the energy field of love, which always heals. And overall, we have to go with that there's one presence and one power, which is about the goodness of us. It's not just about the goodness of God out there. One presence and one power that's only good is in us. It's in us. I would love for nothing more than for us to get that. And I know that it's a journey. It's one of those up and down journeys because sometimes you get it and sometimes you don't, right? Now, I had a little help on getting it this week from the beautiful mystical poet Mark Nepo. I want to read October 17th because it just was right on with this talk. Yeah. Reflex or response. The emotional patterns of our lives are very strong. They often come into being because we've needed them to survive. But sooner or later, we all arrive at moments where the very thing that has saved us is killing us, keeping us from truly living. Being invisible once kept us from being hurt, but now we are vanishing. Have you ever done that? You just didn't want anyone to see you because you didn't want to be hurt, so you made yourself invisible. Maybe that's no longer serving you. Or listening once kept us in relation, but now we are drowning in our unheard cries. Are you a good listener? Are you such a good listener that you're not a good sharer? Or, okay, this is one for me. Or avoiding conflict once kept us out of the line of fire, but now we are thirsting for contact that is real. Do you hate conflict so much that you leave the room? I've been known to leave a room when I shouldn't because I feel uncomfortable. Instead of hanging out and, just seeing it through. I've also been known to torture people by making them stay in the room with me. So, there is that side of me. You could ask Roland. Because I also have that other side. Okay, this is what he says. Early in my life, I learned to protect myself, and this meant that I became very good at catching things. In fact, I never went anywhere without my catcher's mitt. No matter what came at me, nothing could surprise me. And while this saved me from the unpredictable assaults of my family, and even helped me in my odyssey through cancer, it eventually had a life of its own. Everything, birds, women, friends, truth, was intercepted by the quick reflex of my mitt. Eventually, nothing got through. And the very thing that helped me survive was now keeping me from being touched. So he began to do the work about letting it in. And this is just what this unity approach to illness or physical challenge is about. It's tricky not to resist a cold or many worse things. It's really tricky. And I'm right there in the resisting. It's tricky not to resist when people are mad in the room with you. They might not even be mad at you, but they're mad. It's tricky to just sit there and have that, It's tricky to not have our protection, right? We've spent a long time, most of our whole lives, building whatever it is that we built, whether we built a catcher's mitt or an ability to go into a fog or some other kind of protection, right? We spend our whole life building this protection, which actually keeps us from the truth. And on sunny, beautiful days, it's a little easier to relax, right? When you feel ill or unhappy or sad or afraid in any way, that's harder. But that is our spiritual work. That is our spiritual work. So you can use this formula for healing for physical and for emotional stuff. And the reason we want to do that is because we want to be the Christ for each other. This is what is in John. Very truly I tell you, the one who believes in me will also do the works that I do, and in fact will do greater works than these because I am going to the Father. So, believes in me, believes in the Christ in you, believes in that goodness in you, the spark of divinity that's in you. And I know everybody here has it and has felt it. You believe in that. And that's why we do the work. That's why we go through uncomfortableness and keep showing up. So we keep showing up here, and we keep showing up in our book group maybe, and we keep showing up in our classes, and we keep showing up in our 12 steps, and we keep showing up to our therapists, and we keep showing up to all the things we do that actually create a space where we can be that brilliant, sparkly Christ self. So, advice for the week or spiritual practice for the week is this. Sometime this week, start with this loving kindness for yourself and let something in. Radically accept something that you may not want to accept, whether it's feeling like you got a cold, or some other physical symptom, or that you feel angry, or that somebody feels angry at you. Let it in and go to step number 5. Remember, just activate that heart, unconditional love that always heals. Unconditional love that always heals. And miracles will happen. Miracles will happen, and you can tell me your miracles, and I'll tell you my miracles next week. Let's take an offering for unity.